Andres from AA Sports here with more news covering Mexican football and the Mexico women's national team. Before we get into the most recent news regarding an exciting upcoming game for the Mexico women's team, I just want to provide you all with a little bit of a fact check in regards to their most recent results and fixtures, something that even I didn't know about until later because this game was scheduled at the last minute and it wasn't televised or streamed on YouTube. But for those who saw my last Mexico women's national team video after their dominant win versus St. Vincent, I said in that video that La Selección Femenil ended their 2025 year with a great win to start their World Cup qualifying campaign and enter the 2026 year with 10 straight games without losing, winning 8 of their last 10 games. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with this fact check, you can add one more winning result to this excellent stat for La Selección Femenil de México because it turns out that their win versus St. Vincent was not their last game of 2025, as at the last minute, they scheduled and played a second game versus the Costa Rica women's national team on December 2nd in Alajuela, Costa Rica. It is a shame that this game wasn't streamed on YouTube on the Mexico national team's channel or broadcasted so fans could watch the game on TV since it was scheduled and played so late, because we missed what was actually the Mexico women's national team's final game of the 2025 year, which was a great winning result for El Tri Femenil. Mexico won 2-0, 2-0 with goals from Ali Soto and Diana Ordóñez in the second half of the game. Great to see both the starting striker in Ordóñez and the team's best young prospect in Ali Soto play well and score goals. With this result, Mexico not only still went on to finish the 2025 year with a winning result, but they now enter their first games of the 2026 year with 11 straight games without losing and winning in 9 of their last 11. So the team continues to show excellent form entering their next games in March. And with that, moving on to the main news regarding the Mexico women's national team's first games of the 2026 year. Last week on Wednesday, the Mexican Football Federation and the Mexico women's national team announced that along with their World Cup qualifying game versus St. Lucia on March 2nd, they will play a second game next month versus Brazil 5 days later on March 7th. And there are 3 reasons why this was and is a very good game to schedule for the Mexico women's team. The first reason why this planned game will be good for the team is because this will be a game that will elevate their level of play. Similar to my opinion with the men's team, I think that the Mexico women's national team should look to schedule more games during the FIFA international calendar against teams that have consistently qualified for the World Cup and will likely continue to in the future. This will help the team and its young prospects who are already part of the main team gain experience playing against these teams, and by playing games against stronger teams that have consistently qualified for the World Cup over the last decade, you learn how to match their level of play and learn how to win in these games. It will help head coach Pedro Lopez and the team learn which formations work best for the team and which tactics, strategies, and styles of play work when playing against not just easier rivals, but stronger ones as well. A game against Brazil, who have qualified for all 4 of the last Women's World Cups, who will also be the host nation in 2027, will only help the Mexico women's team in this regard now and in the long term. The second reason why this game is good for the Mexico women's national team is that it will be a game that puts the team to the test now, and they will be able to see where they stand 1 year out from the Women's World Cup in 2027 in comparison to teams like Brazil, who will be competing in the tournament next year. With that, this game will not only elevate the team's level of play and help them gain experience in playing against these teams, but it will also show how much they have improved and what more they need to improve on over the next year and a half and in the long term. And then the last reason, of course, With this game set to be played in Ciudad de Mexico in Estadio Ciudad de los Deportes, the Mexico women's national team will get to have a home game in the first FIFA international dates of the 2026 year. The team ended the 2025 year with 2 games in their opponent's home territory, and their first game of 2026 versus St. Lucia will also be played away from home in St. Lucia. So it will be great for the team to have a game played in Mexico after 3 straight games as the away team. It is also good that La Selección Femenil is playing this game against Brazil in Ciudad de Mexico, because playing home games like this does 2 things that will benefit Mexican women's football. First, it will both put the team to the test and keep the team accustomed to playing home games in front of a home crowd and the pressure that comes with playing in Mexico. The second reason is that by playing competitive games against quality opponents that we will see compete in the Women's World Cup, this will continue to grow women's football in Mexico and grow support for the Mexico women's national team across the country. Just like how playing games in Estadio Corruco Díaz, in Ciudad Juárez, and in Tlaxcala were successful because they did the same. This game will continue this positive growth for Mexico, the women's national team, and women's football in the country. With that, I am very excited that the Mexican Football Federation and the women's national team were able to schedule this game along with their second World Cup qualifying game. I look forward to both games and seeing how the team performs, especially the young prospects Mexico has. And just like the men's team's games in March versus Portugal and Belgium, it will only help the team now and in the long term. This game versus Brazil for the women's national team will do the same. This game versus Brazil, regardless of whether they win, lose, or draw, will only benefit the Mexico women's national team in the short term and in the long term future. That will be all for this video covering the most recent news in Mexican football and the Mexico women's national team. Leave your opinions on this upcoming game for El Tri Femenil in the comments. Andres de AA Sports. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to support the channel and help this sports passion project grow. If you enjoy my Mexican football content, feel free to check out my previous videos covering the men's and women's teams, from the Gold Cup to the women's team's 14-0 win in their first World Cup qualifying game. Leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and listening. Viva Mexico!